right, I'm now in New York. I'm in my hotel room. And I got to tell you, the more, and possibly this is geographically influenced, the fact that I'm in New York. And the next time I will be in New York, my father-in-law and I will be eating every pizza in sight and getting ready to watch Khabib and Tony. Khabib and Tony is so interesting for so many reasons. But it's the first time in my lifetime I have ever witnessed a mandate for a fighter. Now, let's back up. Before I was born, and I know the story well, but I did not live through it, Marvelous Marvin Hagler beat everybody that could put on a pair of gloves, but could not get a world title fight. And Senator Kennedy contacted Bob Arum and said, if Marvin Hagler is not given a world title fight, the Senate is going to hold an investigation as to why not. Bob Arum hung up that phone, called Marvin Hagler and said, kid, you're fighting for the title. So, I mean, that would have to go down as the ultimate mandate of all time in the history of combat sport. But I will tell you, Tony Ferguson is the closest thing I've ever witnessed. And I'm reminding you guys of this just in case you forgot. This fight has been signed 4 times. It's fallen through 4 times. Dana swore up, down, and sideways he would never do this a 5th time. There was a mandate not only by the fighters, not only by the fans, not only by the media, not only by Khabib himself, but ultimately the fellow 155-pounders who have sacrificed, who have done heavy lifting, who have worked hard, and who have a like-minded goals and dreams, all stepped aside and said, Tony Ferguson, take your spot. That is fascinating to the highest of levels. It is incredible, but it is largely why we were here for a 5th time. This was demanded. Look, we knew Tony deserved the shot. That's why he got it 4 other times. We knew that Tony was the number 1 guy. That's why they called him the interim champion of the world, a title which, by the way, he never lost. They took the title. He no longer has the title, but he never lost the title. Same thing that happened to Colby. Beyond baffling, but okay. Now, we go to the press conference, and Khabib, for the umpteenth time, stated what a hard fight Tony is, and that he is well aware of what a hard fight he's in for, that it's the right fight, the right opponent. And he's even went as far as to say he is reinvigorated and remotivated because he's aware of the challenge. Okay, high praise, well-deserved, sounds like Khabib's head's in the right place. But I want to break that statement down just a little bit. I've heard Khabib say it countless times, and it kind of rolled right off my back. And there was something about the way that he said it at this last press conference that made me think. What is it that Khabib sees in Tony that is so hard? And it's a very fair question because if you watch Khabib, he does 3 things. Rinse and repeat, he does 3 things again. Rinse and repeat, he does 3 things again. He is never, ever, ever not doing one of 3 things. Pushing you into the fence, taking you down, and mauling you with ground and pound. Those are his 3 things in that order. Every single time he fights, he does those 3 things. The reason I'm a little redundant on that, guys, is if what Khabib is going to do is push you into the fence, take you down, and begin to maul you with ground and pound, if that is what he is going to do, and that is what he has done to 28 other men, round after round, frame after frame, and moment after moment, and time after time, then which of those 3 things does he believe he's going to have issues with when you're dealing with Tony? It's not as though he has to worry about Tony's kickboxing. He's never had to worry about anybody's kickboxing. It's not as though he's got to worry about Tony's jab. He's never had to worry about anybody's jab. It's just not the way he fights. He fights too close. Kind of like Hoist Gracie. He's going to be right on you like this. Doesn't have to worry about your 1s and 2s. So does he believe getting a hold of Tony is going to be the hard part? Does he believe holding him in the fence is going to be the hard part? Does he believe taking Tony down is the hard part? Or does he believe keeping him there, being able to advance positions and ultimately maul Tony is going to be the hard part? Because it's one of those 3. And I'm very curious which of those 3 it is. Tony Ferguson is a fantastic wrestler. He is not a wrestler that goes out there to use wrestling. Tony just as soon finish you from your back. He has extended his amateur wrestling days. Instead of just being about position and control, to being about overall scrambles and fighting from anywhere. He's one of these different guys, which in many ways is happy to play into Khabib's plan. Now, he may regret that decision. Maybe Khabib is too much for him on top. He may regret it. But to make believe that we're not going to see Tony on his back with Khabib on top when Khabib would like to be on top and Tony would like to be on his back, I think is a little bit of a stretch. I'm still curious, of the three things that Khabib does, fence, takedown, ground and pound, when he keeps referring to Tony as such a difficult opponent, which of those three things does Khabib perceive to be a problem?